Data is new.
हेलो एवरीवन, वी हैव टू डिस्कस अबाउट दैट जीएस पेपर फॉर मेंस आंसर राइटिंग देख लेते हैं। If a country is to be the corrupt and the between and the free and the becomes other nations of the beautiful minds, and I strongly feel, and there are the three key societals and members and who can make other different the difference, and there are the fathers, the mothers and the teachers, and Abdul Kalam. Start with the basic into with the reference and to the minerals oil distributions, and then the explain how the universe distribution has several multiple implications. Introductions. Corruption is the considered and to be the originated and from the mind of the pupils and pupils thinking the ethical value and conduct and the behavior all makes other men either corrupt and or be the honest and the influenced and body. The basic and the permanence and solution to corruptions and involve the inculcatings and more ethicals and more the values and sins and the childhood, and that the buildings character and characters and building and since the childhood is the influences and by the parents and teachers and families and society etc who play vital role in the holistics and development of the child and better society, better socializations and by the parents and teachers for the corruptions and fees. A child is the reflections and of the her father her mothers and being the best friends and the first teachers of child, and mothers influences the child from the walk to the talk, and mother is the wealth of information and for child. The child learn and love the compensations and forgiveness and humanities and equalities, kind the heartedness and the respected the generosities and the ethics, and from the her mothers and such the traits and reduce the corruptions, and the rather father is the role and models for the most of the children's and qualities of the leaderships and responsibilities and declines and the consistency and the fearlessness and etc are the developed and in the children's and the under the influences of the fathers good patient parents does and supports and help the child and to be the positive health and the good lifelong learners and the behaves and in ethicals and manners and involving the morals value in the entire and his and her life. A child first listen on the right and the wrongs and comes from his and her parents, and when he is taught and not to the steal and never lies and not to be the intentionally harms others. And teachers have the very important responsibilities of the laying the foundation of and the individual's futures. They are the most important nation and builders, and as they are not and only the responsibles and for the intellectuals and nourishments and of the youth mind, and but also and for the moldings and the overalls personalities of children at young impressionables and ages the teachings and them about the disciplines and beings the responsibles for their the action and inculcating the values and like the team spirit and sharing the fair play and the cooperations, and a teacher shared the stage for other responsible citizens of the country conclusion. Therefore, the nurturings and done by the parents and the teachers and determine the course of a nations and whether and it will be made of the uprisings and moral and the argumentatives and Indians and or the dulls mind and ready to the compromising on their the ethics. Question number third. whistle and blowers, and who the reports and corruptions and illegals and activities and wrongdoings and the misconducts and to the concern and authorities, and runs the risk of being an exposed and to grave the danger physical harms and the victimizations by the interested and accused persons and his the team, and what the policy measures and would you the suggested to strengthen protection mechanism and to the safeguard and the whilst blower candidate can start the answer and by the basically then explainings and about the whistle and blowings, and then the supply suggest the measures and for the buildings and such the system and institutions. Introduction. A Wilson, a Wilson and Blowers is other person and who the could be and the employees of other companies or other government agencies and disclosing the information to the public or the some higher authorities about any the wrongdoings and which could be in the forms of the frauds and corruption, etc. There are many and the commissions and who the recommendation that other specific law and needs to be the enacted and to protect the wills and the blowers and like law the Commission of India in 2001 and 2007. Report of the Second Administrative Reforms Commission in India and the whistleblowers and are the protected and by the Whistleblowers and Protection Act 2014. There are the various policies and measures and regarding the protection of the whistleblowers and but there's the implementations and is very poor, and it is the important and that the policy and should be the implemented and properties and force there the safeties. Situation tables and the legislations and must be the enacted and to the provide the protections and to the enacted and whilst blowers and the delusions and of the act, and that is the proposed by the 2015 and amendment bill must be the abandoned. Policy measures the suggestions. Stabilizing other confidential and reporting systems, and this would allow the whistleblowers and to report the issues and without and fears of the retailizations and or the being identified, providing the legal protection, and this could and the include the law that the protected and whistleblowers and from being and the fired and the discriminated and against in the work places, and as well as the laws and that the provided and for the criminals penalties and for those who the retailized and against the whistleblowers, providing financial support, and this could and the includes and financial and compensations and for the lost wages or other the damages and suffered as a result of the blowing the whistles, and providing the physiological and support and whilst blowers and may the experience significant stress and the anxiety and as a result of their actions, and it is important to provide them with access to the mental health and resources to help them and cope. Educating the public, and it is the important and for to raise and the awareness and about the importance and of the wildflowers and the risk and they face in order to the encourages and more pupils and to come the forwards and reports the wrongdoings, and some meetings the issues and as and the anonyms and persons and will the protect the life and of the wilds and wild whistle and blowers, and specific and the trainings to the teach and workers and they are the right and the about availables and internationals and externals protection programs and for managers and to the learn and thus alongs and with the related skills and behavior and the obligation to act. Conclusion. Hence, strengthening of the blowers and the protections mechanism and will help in the ensuring that the integrities of the democracy is protected, the cherished and the unaffolded. Question number 4: how can the emotional intelligence and be measured and the aged? What are the some most the commonly and used tools for the evaluating and the emotions and intelligence and in the individuals and organizations? Approach. In this question, candidate need to the write about the how emotional intelligence and can be the measures and what are the some and commonly and used tool for the evaluating and emotional and intelligence and the individuals and organizations. Introductions. Emotional intelligence (EI) is the capabilities of the persons to access, manage, and the controls and one one's emotions and as well as the emotions of the others, and it is the criticals to manage our behavior and decisions making and self the awareness and self regulations and motiving motivations and the empathy and the social skills and components are the important to develop the emotionals and the intelligence among the pupils and body. How is IE measure EI measures emotional awareness, and generally speaking the EI and is other measures and in three the different ways, and self report on other the report and availability measures, and the varieties of the skills and the quizzes and the questionnaires have been the developed and for each of those and the method of measuring and EI. There are the four generals and types of the EI and tests and which are the described and in more the detail soon, and the availability and based tests and trade the based tested and the competencies and based the test and behavior based test and based all the provides and measures of the artificial intelligence for situation where and the accurate and the objective assessment of the artificial intelligence is wanted, and emotional intelligence is becoming and more the widely and recognition as other valuable indicators and of the job success and performance. Thus are three generally accepted and way to the measures and artificial intelligence self-reporting others reportings and availability testings and self the reportings and ask the candidates and to the evaluates theirs once the emotional intelligence and similar to the personalities test, and this the methodology is other good ways to understand other candidates and perceptions of themselves, and but this tactic has some the limitations, and self the report and testing is other solid ways to the measures and innate the traits and like the those found in the personality and self-reporting and would make for other solid measures of artificial intelligence, but only in those who have high the emotional intelligence and to begin him with others reporting and flips and the self-reportings and the script and the task others and with the ratings and the artificial intelligence of another person, and this the methods sometimes and called the observers and rating makes sense and aid the first clap which could be the better and the situated and to the rate narrate how well the someone's and manager manages and there's the emotions and then the pupils and around us and others the reportings and it does and the gathers and valuables and information on how other the perceived and someone's and but that not the best way to the measures and emotional intelligence. Hmm. After all, and to have the truly and the reliables and the result and from the others reportings, all the observers and would need to be the have high artificial intelligence themselves the otherwise, and this the methodology and can the introduced and wise into the assessment and process the finalities, and we have the availability testings. This type of the testing is the most reliable forms of the assessment and for the technical skills, and the since artificial intelligence is skills based and it is the best measures and with the availability and testing at it first, and it may the sound possible and to the effectively and measures and the evaluates how well other person understand emotions. There comes the misconceptions and that the anythings and lead then to the emotions or the feelings and isn't and the grounded and in the logics or science, and but that lines of thinkings and couldn't be the furthers and from the truth, and if you wanted to the evaluated a candidate and typings and skills you wouldn't ask them to tell you, and nor would you the ask and there's the friends or the co-workers how first they types and you have just and have them take other typing test, and the same goes for the emotional intelligence, the truly strong and artificial intelligence ability test and build the missions the different key dimensions that highlights the takers and ability to the recognize and empathics and the utilized emotions to measures and the emotionals and intelligence criterias and developed, and there even the artificial intelligence assessment and emotify, and the emotify is other game based the assessments and there the accurately capture other candidate and ability to identify and understand and manage emotions of the both themselves and others. Emotified and is other rigorously and the validated and availability based measures of the emotional intelligence, and that is the both engaging and the interaction and the simulating and some of the those real world and scenarios, and where the artificial intelligence is so crucial to for the measuring emotional village intelligence in the workplaces.